The Too Tall Sports Podcast is brought to you by no one still, but we're getting there. Today's episode's with my buddy and former teammate, Vance Worley. He pitched in the big leagues for a while with the Philadelphia Phillies. He was drafted by them out of high school as well. We dive into that. He also pitched for the Orioles, Twins, Marlins, and a few other teams as well. So great episode with Vance. We talk about his love of cars. We talk about pitching in Philly, what that's like. It's a great episode, so I think you'll definitely enjoy it. As always, you can find us at Too Tall Sports Podcast everywhere, Spotify, Apple, YouTube, anywhere you get your podcasts. Please subscribe, and also if you could hit a 5-star, it's really easy. Scroll down if you don't know how to do it on Apple and hit the 5-star for me. That'd be great. So subscribe, rate, and review wherever you can, and hope you enjoy the episode, Too Tall Sports Podcast with Vance Worley. Have a good one. Enjoy. Welcome back to the Too Tall Sports Podcast. My next guest is a former Major League pitcher. He spent time with the Phillies, Twins, Pirates, Orioles, and Marlins organizations. He was drafted back in 2008 in the third round by Philadelphia, and he was a former teammate of mine, and we played college ball together. And he is Vance Worley. What's up, Vance? How you doing?
I'm doing great, Building. How you doing?
I like it. Yeah, that is one of my nicknames for those of you who don't know. Thank you. And we have a mutual friend. We call him Whammer. What do you want to say to Whammer right now if he's listening?
Oh, I think Whammer's cupcaking right now up in Big Bear. So I hope he's having fun up there.
Okay, good. What up, Wham? All right. So I definitely appreciate you being on the show today. You got a great story. So I definitely want to dive in and give the listeners a little bit about you today. So. All right.
Here we go.
You grew up in Sacramento, Northern California, and I know you played. I think you played multiple sports. But what was your high school experience like for baseball and transitioning into really taking it seriously and seeing if you could go somewhere with it?
Well, I mean, baseball always was the sport that came, I guess, easiest for me. So I picked up on that. Played basketball until I got to high school. That's when I decided that I was going to cut ties with that because I just knew it wasn't going to get me to the next level. But it was fun. It was a good way to stay in shape. But I started getting into baseball full time, played all year round. Mostly I played as a position player, shortstop, infield, little bit of outfield when needed, but pitching, it was always something that I could do. I knew I could hit, both sides of the plate, and that was what was important, and I could spin something. And then eventually velocity became a big deal, and I was striking some guys out in high school. And then, the whole area codes games, got an invite for that, for a tryout, wound up making the team. And then that's when Major League Baseball kind of stepped in, and I became a name. And so that was a wild ride all the way through that, travel ball and high school ball.
When you were getting some attention, junior and senior year, how did you decide on Long Beach State? Did you have other offers? Were you thinking maybe get drafted and sign at that point, even though you're 18 years old? Where was your head at on college stuff?
Oh man, if I was 18, it might have been different. I was still 17.
That's right. You're younger.
I was the young buck. I'd never been away from home, away from my family. So it was tough for me. I knew Long Beach State was a good fit. I had other offers from other schools, but Long Beach State, they said I could go there as a two-way guy.
Oh, really? I
didn't touch a bat for it.
I don't remember you hitting, but yeah.
Exactly. But I committed there because I was told I was going to play two-way, and Shane Peterson, I think, was the only one that got to do that. I don't think they had anybody else come in at all while we were there. Wow. So, but he got drafted as a position player, but he was brought in as a pitcher more so, I think. So role reversal, and now I'm just a pitcher.
Did you have any other offers?
Fullerton was actually one of the other ones that came in, and I remember how upset they were when I told them I was going to go there for a visit, and I had to call them and tell them that I just committed to Long Beach State. They were not happy about it, but that was the other big school between Long Beach.
Yeah, we'll get to them in a little bit because Long Beach
Yeah.
and Fullerton have a great rivalry. But as far as from your freshman year of college to your junior year when you're draft eligible and you got to play in the Cape in between there, how did you kind of transition from, you're just new kid, I guess, in the organization, and then now toward the end as a junior, you're really ready to get drafted?
Yeah. It was kind of wild. I mean, because I got drafted by Philadelphia out of high school. I got hurt my last game of the year, so it affected the draft status. And I remember just sitting at home, just waiting for a call, and it was like, well, I don't know if it's going to happen. I'm going to need to go to college, at least get 3 years education out of the way, or if not, finish and get a degree. And I got hurt. I got the call from Philly. They said, hey, we're going to take you. I think it was the 20th round. I can't remember off the top of my head, but
Yeah.
they said, go play summer ball, throw that hard 95 with a hard slider. We're going to give you a second round money. And because at the time they were still drafting follow.
Right.
And, it was a tough one. It was like, man, how am I going to turn down that kind of money? Well, what if I go out and I get hurt again? Now that scholarship's gone, that money means nothing because they're not going to give it to me. So I said, okay, I'll go to college. And being 17 and everybody else on the team was older, the freshman class that we had was pretty stacked, but I was that much younger. I think me and Shane were the only 17-year-olds. Everybody else was 18, 19 already by the time they were coming in.
Right.
And everybody else was older, ready to go in the draft. And it was a struggle, being away from home for the first time, dorm life, being the kid, used to having success. Now I'm playing against men. Now I'm getting tatered everywhere. I'm like, damn, how am I? It was easier in high school. What's the deal?
Right.
And, I got it handed to me. I was the Sunday guy freshman year, wound up losing that job, got put in the pen. And basically I started out of the pen. We would have a starter go, and then I would come in and finish up the game. It was almost like how they're doing it now with the opener.
Right.
They would have him do all the opening stuff, all the hard work, and I was doing all the pen work, and then I would just finish the game. And so that kind of got me started with, I guess, what I do now. I do every role, but I wound up becoming a starter the next couple years. But going to the Cape, that was really an eye opener because I'd never been to the East Coast. And humidity and people from all over the country are coming here to play, and almost everybody I played against there has either got drafted or got to the show. So that was a neat experience too.
Oh yeah, I bet. I've heard that summer league. You got the best talent in the country going to play there, so I can imagine.
Yeah, I mean it was cool. Just especially I got to play for Chatham. So I seen the movie, so that's what everybody thinks when they go there, and you go and you're like, the field doesn't quite look the same. And but the travel was really easy. The fans were super cool, enjoying having all these kids come out there and play, get the experience, the exposure, because there's a ton of scouts, and just getting to know other guys around the country. It was cool.
Yeah, definitely. When I got there, I transferred after 07. I got there that year, and I remember, during the year we would always talk about, we got a chance to get drafted. I remember you pushing me to be, my best self that year too, man. Getting the weight room, all that stuff, running more, like it was great. So it was good to have you. You were in that mindset already, and I was coming in kind of as an unknown. And then I get to Long Beach State, and everybody on that team, we had a stacked team. We had 13 guys drafted in the first 5 rounds. We were loaded that year, so we got a lot of attention that season. But it was definitely fun. What do you remember about our 08 junior college season as juniors?
Oh God, just I guess the fall was really the team bonding, getting to know all the new guys coming in, because on paper we were stacked.
Yeah.
We were the team to beat. And I remember getting to know all the guys. You wound up moving in with one of my buddies, David Bourne.
Yeah.
And you guys were roommates. He moved in from Sac City to Long Beach State, so it was another guy that I'd known from my past in the career that came back into my career life. And you moved in with him, so we were all hanging out and getting to know each other. And then just the guys that we had come in, the camaraderie was unbelievable. I don't, all these years playing, I don't think I've experienced anything like that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
No, it was a fun year, and we had a lot of success. And right before everybody got drafted to win the Big West Conference, we had to beat Cal State Fullerton, which of course came full circle for you because you got recruited by them as well. So what do you remember about that rivalry and maybe that series that kind of really solidified our year back in 2008?
I mean, that obviously we had the pressure of having to have success out there too because of who we had on the team. The whole year, I think everybody kind of pushed everybody, and the guys that were for the team, it really showed towards the end of the season. Both on the field and off the field. But just that series alone, I mean, 3 years of having to play these guys, and they always seemed to beat us. Don't know how, but they would always beat us. That series was big, and I shoved it that day. That was fun.
Yeah, hell yeah.
CG, everybody's running out after the game, and I mean that's the way you want to end the season right there. And unfortunately, that was kind of it for us. I mean, we had our own regional and could do it, but
I always tell people about we had 4 West Coast teams, including ourselves, in the regional, and the committee I think they screwed us by they're just trying to knock us all out in one regional, and then Fresno State goes crazy and they win the whole thing.
Yeah, no, that was a good series. I mean, we had some real talent, and I mean, all those guys that were in our pool basically got drafted. A few of them got to the big leagues too. So that. Just so people know how tough that series was.
For sure. And we got to host it, but we just didn't go our way that weekend.
It didn't pan out. It didn't pan out. We didn't get the runs we needed them, and we didn't get the zeros when we needed them.
Yeah. So, right after that, you got drafted coincidentally again by Philadelphia. So I know there's a little story behind that. What was that? I guess, obviously, what was draft day like and all that stuff, getting picked in the 3rd round. But having Philly pick you twice from high school and back again in college, how was that?
The experience this time around was a little easier just because I'd already dealt with them in high school, scout wise, because you got to go and meet with these guys, and they need to figure out who you are off the field too. That way they know who they're scouting. So that experience was a little easier this time around, being older. But I didn't know until the draft day, or a couple days before the draft, that if a team drafted you before out of high school, they have to have you sign a waiver to draft you again in the next time you were available. So, in my head, if I don't sign that, that's one less team that's going to get a chance to draft me. So I say, yes, of course. And the first day of draft was just first and supplement round. Didn't hear anything. So the next day I'm just kind of hanging around at home because I don't know anything. It's all online at that point.
Yeah.
And I'm just sitting with my family hanging out, and the Philly scout calls me, and he says, "Hey, we just drafted you." And I look at the computer, I go, "You guys didn't even draft." It's delayed. We got you. He goes, "All right, we'll meet. We'll figure out a time. Where are you at? Are you in Sacramento? Are you down south? Because I'm down south, so you need to come back down here if you're up north, so I can have you sign." I go, "That's fine. I'll be back." Yeah. But I wound up signing, and I remember as soon as I put that pen in the paper, he goes, "Cut your hair, take your earrings out, got to do this, got to do that." He starts giving me the whole military style, minor leagues. And I go, "What am I doing?
Yeah.
Why do all these other guys get to wear pant legs down? I've been waiting my whole career to wear pant legs down because they don't make pants that fit." So, that was a cool experience to finally get that knocked out and get into pro ball.
Yeah. Definitely. And speaking to all the rules and stuff, the minor leaguers, they don't, like, a lot of organizations don't let you have any fun at all. Pants up, no beard, no earrings, like you were saying. Like, it's too strict in my opinion. But some organizations are real cool about it, and they let you feel like you're a big leaguer and wear whatever you want.
Some are definitely a lot cooler.
Yeah.
As far as dress code or just you being able to have your own type of personality and express yourself, I guess you could say.
Right. And what was your kind of early thoughts about pro ball? You're going from college and then you transition to pro ball. Was there a big, tough transition for you? It was just pretty easy once you got drafted?
It was tough. I think junior year was the year that I actually kind of became more of who I was as a player and a person, the years to mature. So, especially going back east and playing in the Cape, the one summer, after my freshman year, that was my first real experience of going and playing with other people that I don't know. Right. So it was like, okay, how do I come out of my shell? Because I'm quiet, I keep to myself. I just go, I'm in the gym or I'm at the field or I'm at home, just trying to just stay low and out of the spotlight.
Right.
And I remember meeting some of the guys on the team for the first time. I was in Williamsport, and there were some personalities, and I'm like, how am I going to get along with these guys? Like I'm nothing like them. Like I have to go out and do my job and do it well. Otherwise I'm not going to stick around either. So
Right.
it's a business and you got to go out and have success. So I knew that if I failed, hey, next outing, it's got to be better. And you can only go this way. Otherwise you're out.
Yeah, definitely. So, I mean, you're already, you make it to Double A in 2009. So 1 year in, you're already up there. What was that jump like as far as, I mean, everything, maturity wise and the type of talent you're facing now? You're 21, 22, and you're already in Double A.
It was a tough experience too, because I mean, as you know, the younger you are, when you make jumps, you got these older guys that put in their time, or they had to really, put in the work to get there. And then all of a sudden, oh, here's this kid. He got drafted last year. He did okay, decent. He's a prospect. And as you know, I mean,
yeah,
prospects move. They go up. They go down. They gain value. They lose value. But as a player, you want to have success as a team, but you want to have the most success for yourself, because you got to get out of there. You got to get to the next level. You got to keep pushing, stay hungry. So meeting these guys for the first time and saying, all right, well, they're my teammates, but you could tell, like, okay, he's younger. Like, he's got to be able to compete at this level with us, and we can tell, I mean, guys from different coasts, West Coast guys are a little different than East Coast guys. So there's personality differences in how they play versus how we play. We might play tough and hard, but it doesn't look the same as a guy from another part of the country. So, I was just pitching at that point, and I remember struggling. I started out hot that year, and I wound up. They said, "Hey, we're gonna just have you pitch with a 4-seam and a slider, no curveball, no 2-seam. That's all you're gonna throw." And I remember just it was like freshman year of college all over again.
Yeah.
Except these guys are really, really good.
Yeah.
This Double A is like the make it or break it. It's like, well, damn, it started out good. Now it's starting to get warmer. The guys are getting more comfortable up there because now their hands don't hurt every time they get jammed. And now I'm getting lit up. And I'm like, well, I'm going to be back in Double A. I'm going to get released one way or the other. Something's going to happen.
Yeah.
And that was an eye opener. I mean, that brought back the hunger after, college, going into that first summer, and then you had that time off. I mean, college ball, we don't have time off. You go play summer ball, you come back early, you're starting to get ready for fall ball. Now, you had a couple months off. It was time to relax, and finally, and then you got to kick it back in gear. And going into camp, I remember feeling good, but it didn't have the same feel to it. But no, I remember me and Mike Stutz. He was the other guy that made the jump after the first year of summer ball, Oregon State. And we were the first guys to do it since, I believe it was Tom Wolf,
okay,
the lefty.
Yeah.
We were the first guys to jump from low A to Double A since him. So it was already like a big deal. Like, oh, these guys are supposed to be the guys. Like, can't let down the organization and all these fans.
It's good to have the organization behind you, though, pushing you already to those levels and getting you up there quick.
Yeah, no, it was tough. But then having to return to Double A the next year and get that opportunity and not get sent back the other way. I mean, it could have went that way too. Okay, now I'm back in the Florida State League where I didn't go, and it's hot. It's it's where it really drives guys. Okay, I want to go home because I just want to get out of that weather.
Yeah. Yeah, you start getting July and August, it gets a little hot and rainy out there for sure.
Oh my God. Yeah. Yeah. It's warm there. So going back to Double A, I remember my first outing, I got lit up again, and I'm like, I felt great this spring, and this is the results I'm getting. I got to that's when I went back to the whole, Vanimal instincts and just started competing and not caring about anything. It was just get the ball by the guys or keep it on the ground. Don't let them lift on you. Otherwise it's going to go, because Redding's a little bandbox and most of those parks are. But it was a good experience to pitch there. So it got me ready for Citizens Bank Park.
Right.
But I strung together a couple good outings at the end of right before All-Star break, All-Star game, and the first game back. And Jamie Moore got hurt, and I wound up getting called up for him.
Oh,
So
wow.
that was it was a cool experience. It was kind of frightening. I mean, you get the butterflies, the heart's racing, and I was where was I? I was in Erie, Pennsylvania. I just threw a bullpen, had the chart in the stands that night. It was hot. And I remember, turning in my paperwork, doing my chart and getting back to the hotel after the game. The trainer says, "Hey, the manager wants to see you back at the ballpark." And I'm like, "Well, what'd I do wrong?
Yeah.
I've been doing my
You mess
charts
up
for
the
how
chart?
many years now?" So I get back, and that's the first thing he says. He goes, this chart's terrible. And I just look at him. He's got his feet up on the desk, all serious. I'm like, "Well, I didn't do the chart. I did the gun tonight." And he goes, "Do I need to call that guy? Because he's going to the big leagues and not you, if that's the case." I go, "I'm sorry, what?" And he just goes, "Go get your stuff and get the hell out of here." He's like, "Good luck." He goes, "Don't forget about us down here." And I'm like, "Well, why would I? If it wasn't for him, he coached me 3 years. He managed me 3 years.
Oh, wow.
He had me in Lakewood, and then he had me the 2 years in Reading. And I think that Steve Roadcap's a big reason for my success and getting there too, because he pushed me.
That's pretty awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I ask a lot of guys this about the different levels in the minor leagues and even the big leagues. What do you think was the biggest jump? Was it from, low A to double A to triple A, or even just triple A to the big leagues as far as the hitters, what kind of approach they have, or where did you feel like the biggest jump was?
They're all different for sure. I mean, even going league to league or, different minor league to league, there's different approaches just based on the ballparks, different lineups, righty or lefty. But I thought, going to double A that first time was the real eye opener, because it was like, okay, these guys, they look like men. The guys that we got drafted with, they're still, kind of
like
growing
college
into
guys.
who they are. Yeah. I mean, they're physical, don't get me wrong, but you get that first couple years in, I mean, it changes you as a person and as a player. You know what you have to do to keep going. Otherwise, somebody's going to be nipping at your heels and bypass you.
Right.
But these guys, they were men, they were older. I was like, okay, so these guys got some pop. They got man strength now. It's not just that's a big guy. That's a man. And, the ball coming off of the bat, these guys could handle a wood bat. You didn't break their bats the same way.
Right.
And then going to the big leagues and AAA, I mean, the veteran guys, they took pitches. You had the younger guys, they were coming up, they were looking for that first pitch heater, something straight, something that wasn't going to move as much. But just, I think the personalities had a lot to do with it too, because some guys, they wanted to be there. And then you had the other guys, there's just, I've been doing this for this long, it's just a job, and then you got the kid that gets mixed in. It's like, okay, where do you fit in? Because this older guy doesn't want you around, because that means it's nearing his end. And then you got these guys that have gotten there, but they're just not doing what you did to get there. So they're looking at you different. And it's a business, man. It's different. It's hard to explain unless you live it.
Right. And especially as a young guy, you come in, you're all excited. Then once you get up to double A, triple A, you got these salty old dudes that are just trying to get back to the big leagues. And it's just such a different mentality. You got all, like you were saying, all different personalities on the team. Everyone's at a different stage of their career. So you have to mesh all that together. It is kind of weird.
It is. I mean, everybody preaches it's a team game. It's a team game, but it's the most individual team game that there is, because each guy has to have his own success in order for the team to have success. And, everybody can fail and one guy can have success. It's a team win. It's not that guy that came up and, hit that bomb, or, oh, I got jammed and the ball flew over and you gave up the run. Now you lost. The pitcher always gets the loss in this situation. But like as a team, it's a team win.
Right.
It's different.
Yeah, minors is all about development. The wins are not as important.
Sure.
They're important for the managers, but for the players,
Depends where you're at.
Right. That's true. That's true. But like, yeah, if you have a good outing and your win-loss record isn't great, there's so much out of your hands. There's bad defense behind you, or the team doesn't hit, or whatever the case. There's so many factors. They don't always look at wins and losses that much.
No, they don't.
I want to go back to when you first got called up. So when you got your first start, what was that like, or your first outing in the big leagues? What do you remember about that?
Man, even just the call, like after I, called my mom and dad and said, hey, you're never going to believe this, but I'm going, like, I text a couple buddies, and next thing I know, I'm getting texts and calls from numbers I don't even have in my phone. Oh, they remember me. Hey, I want tickets and all this and that. And it's like, I heard about these guys. They do exist. And, you just have to learn to say no. I mean, no matter, even your closest friends, it's tough because, your tickets aren't free. Oh, hey, I want to go and hang out. Oh, no, I'm going to be at the park already because we get there at like 1. So, no, I'm not going to meet up with you for lunch. And if you want to do dinner, it's probably not going to be till midnight.
Right.
It's like, I'm not going to be able to get out of there until then. So the people not realizing that it is a job, we're there all day. But I got called up and I met the team in St. Louis.
Okay.
And it was hot. It was really hot. And I remember the first day we wound up getting rained out. So it was like, man, I'm here. I walk into the clubhouse and it's 10 times bigger than any AA locker room I've ever been in.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, there's beer everywhere. This is different. Okay. Oh my God, I know that guy. I know that guy. And it's all guys that I grew up watching. And even the last couple of years of college, it was like, okay, these are the guys I'm watching on TV. And now I'm their teammate. Like, how do you separate fanboy with you? Okay, this is my teammate. This is my coworker. Like, just try to be professional. And I'm 22 at the time, and all these guys on the team are, late 20s, early 30s. And it's like, okay, just stay quiet, stay out of everybody's way, say hello. Don't let them beat you to it. Otherwise it's going to make you look bad. But everybody was really welcoming. It was a really neat experience.
You got to play with Jimmy Rollins, Ryan Howard. You got big name guys, maybe guys
Jason
that won World
Worth
Series.
Was there at the time.
They'd already won a World Series, some of these guys. Like, they're big household names.
Yeah, Cole Hamels, Blanton was there. I got to watch him in Sacramento in AAA when I was living there. So it was really cool to see that. It was like, oh man, I remember a couple of years ago, I was just watching it and they all give you the same thing. Damn, am I getting that old? And I knew that feeling because I remember the last few years of my career, it was like, oh man, haven't you been playing like 10 years already? I'm like, I'm not that old, kid. Don't do that to me.
I know. Baseball moves fast, man. The years just go quick.
So fast. You blink and it's over. You gotta enjoy it while you can.
Definitely. And speaking of enjoying it, you had a lot of success in Philadelphia. So I want to hear about your experience pitching there. And I mean, you had a run I saw of 14 straight starts in a row when you became a full-time starter. The team had won all those, like 14 starts in a row or something like that. And I mean, it was a great experience for you. And that's when the Vanimal was born. So I want to hear about the whole Philadelphia experience, pitching, off the field, everything. How was it?
Yeah, man. That year, so 2010, getting to debut, I had some success as a reliever and a starter. So I kind of, got my feet wet. So they knew about me. They knew I could compete at that level. So that's a good sign. They, bring me into camp the next year. I see the guys, we got horses. There's no way I'm ever going to get into this rotation. And even the other guys on the staff, it's like, where do I even fit in? You can't. These guys are all getting paid, this, that. Well, injuries happen. And, some guys struggle. They don't put up the numbers they're supposed to put up. Well, okay, hey, we got this young guy that can do it. He's going to do it. And that's how it is. But, I remember going into camp and I was just frightened. I was like, why am I even, like, you have me, like, mixing in starts, but it's just so I can get these guys a day off, because, they need to spread out those days to get built up. And I remember getting the axe at the end of camp, and I was expecting it, hey, go to AAA, get your innings and blah, blah, blah. And that was the roller coaster, man. I put some miles on the car that year, going from Allentown back to Philadelphia, and it was just one of those, almost like a movie, like just, oh hey, like I'm here one day, I'm gone, don't know what to tell you this time. Hey, get out of here, come back. We need you. This guy got hurt this time, and by the time, the sixth time I got sent down or whatever, the guys in triple are like, can you just get the hell out of here?
Yeah.
We're tired of seeing you. We know you're going to be gone in a week. Like, get out of here. And it's like, I don't have a choice. I have to be
That's
here.
frustrating, though. That's tough to deal with, that mentally going up and down like that.
It is. And, there was a time where they didn't have me in the rotation. They didn't want to send me down. So I just sat in the bullpen for, 2 weeks before they said, hey, we need you to go throw so you can stay stretched out. And I remember All-Star break, they didn't have to send me down, but they sent me down so they could have another hitter there because they knew they didn't need an extra guy in the rotation. So I wound up not going home that year, and I stayed local and had to stay in Allentown, throw a bullpen, and stay ready there. And sure, as soon as All-Star break ended, hey, we need you right back. And now I'm flying back. But it's draining. It's mentally draining because you want to have success. You're dealing with more travel than normal. You're not just traveling with the team. Oh, hey, you just got here to the middle of nowhere. We're going to need you to fly you to a bigger city. So you fly there, you get cut, you go back, and now you're flying to some other city. Then you bus, because back then there's no Ubers,
right,
or you're taxiing, something crazy, little puddle jumpers here and there. And again, I don't have anybody. It's just me. My family's all out west. Like I can only call them and just say, this just happened. What do I do now? Just keep grinding, whatever. Just enjoy the ride. Like, it's not everybody gets to do it. And, just the support from them, and it kept the drive going. And the guys on the team, again, I'm with horses. These guys, I have to be able to compete and do as good as them. Otherwise I'm out of here. And, I handled it. There were some outings that got a little rough, but the bats were unbelievable. The defense was unbelievable. If I was struggling, they kept me in it to where we would somehow come up with a win, and I'd get a no decision. They'd get me off the hook, or, I'd go out and I'd deal, and somebody would get a big hit, and, oh, hey, we won again. But we just, 2011, it was unbelievable. We'd go out and we knew we were going to win. If we did lose a game, it's, hey, whatever, guys, like, just go get some sleep, come back tomorrow, we're going to kick their ass. And we did.
Yeah.
That was the best record in Philly history was 2011.
Wow. So the fans were all about it. What's it like as far as pitching in Philadelphia from that perspective? Just they're notorious for their fans, but from your experience, I know you guys were winning, but
they're loud. They don't like a lot of other teams or players. They don't like when you don't have success either. But if you're out there and you're giving everything you have, that's what they want. They just want a guy that's going to go out and just be, all out, and that's it. Win or loss, just go out and just do the best you can. They see that you're working hard. So I was fortunate to have the success that I had there, and then be able to leave and stay on good terms. Because some guys don't leave that city and never even come back.
Right. You had a great run while you were there. So luckily that's how it went.
Yeah. But experiences, I mean, off the field, like I didn't go anywhere. I couldn't. The glasses, the haircut, just, I don't know, being the only half Asian guy in Philadelphia, like I stuck out a little bit, so it's like.
But you got to be you, though.
I did. I got to experience it. But I mean, going and just running the mall to go just burn a couple hours, like, you couldn't just go do that. Especially the other guys that were getting paid, the World Series winners, they went out, they had the whole city following them to wherever they were going just so they could just say hi.
Right.
I mean, that's fine, say hi, but the coming up and like asking for autographs like mid-bite or somebody screaming at you from 2 blocks away, hey, that's the Vanimal. It's like, oh no, I got to sprint now. I got to get to my car so I can get back to the hotel.
Right. Well, the city embraced the nickname, though, right? Didn't they have T-shirts? They had all kinds of stuff. Man,
they had shirts. Yeah, I had a bobblehead. I had the little like Lego figure, but I mean, the Vanimal originally started at Long Beach State. It really kind of came out the year that we played together.
Yeah.
And I remember, my first year pro ball, I put my full name on my glove because I'd never had a glove with my name on it.
Right.
So I was like, oh, this is awesome. And then the next year I go, I'm going to put a nickname on there. I'm going to have fun with this if I have the opportunity.
Sure.
And I remember V-Dub did terrible. So V-Dub got retired. He didn't come out ever again. So I tried Vanimal and I had success. And I remember, in the clubhouse, the second or third time I came back, my glove got patched around in the clubhouse, and it was Shane Victorino, and he was just like, "Oh, guy has his nickname on his glove. Oh, that's cool. That's cool. It's just got the Vanimal, and it's like, from that point on, everybody just called me Vanimal. It wasn't Worley, it wasn't Vance, it was Vanimal, and it was cool. It was cool.
Definitely. Oh, that's a really cool story. I have to mention, since you did love to hit, you got a couple hits in your first two or you went 2 for 4 in your first game as a hitter. Is that right? Or something like that?
I don't know.
Or you got a couple hits in your first.
I had a couple hits in 2011. I remember that. And I wound up being teammates with a Mike Pelfrey in Minnesota. And he just goes, what year did you come up? And it was just the first time we ever really talked. And he goes, oh, yeah, I remember now. And I go, yeah, I got that hit off you. He goes, that's right. You got a hit off me. Yeah. And I go, thank you. I appreciate you letting me have that first hit.
Right.
But it's funny. The competitive nature between baseball players in general, but now when it's a pitcher versus a pitcher, it's like you can't let that guy get a hit off you. And it's the worst thing ever because it's bragging rights at that point.
Worst feeling.
Yeah, but but yeah, man, I put in the time for hitting, and it wound up working out for me because I was able to hit in the bigs, because there's some pitchers for sure where you can tell they're not comfortable.
Right.
So that was a neat experience seeing the game from that angle, because not everybody gets that either. I mean, some guys play in the AL their whole career and never hit.
Right. So
all you ever see is home plate, and now when you're standing at home, you see the whole field. It's different. It's eye-opening.
Oh, I bet. Yeah. So everything, seemingly was going great. And then in 2012, you had a surgery on your elbow. And then, stuff started to go a little bit differently. You got traded to Minnesota. What was that whole experience like, getting injured and you were just like, you were killing it. And then of course that comes up and things changed.
It was tough. The elbow was nagging me majority of that season, and we couldn't really diagnose it. And then finally, I wound up going down on the DL before All-Star break, and we saw that I had the bone chip. So we said, hey, we're going to give you a little time off, and you can bounce back, and then we'll keep you going the rest of the year. And that bone spur wound up, getting back into a spot where it was really bothering me, and I wound up having to have the surgery towards the end of the season. Shut me down, and then I just started doing my rehab the rest of that season through the off season in Philadelphia. So I didn't go home at all. And I remember being in the clubhouse. I was on the elliptical doing my cardio to finish my day, and I got the call from the GM, and he just goes, hey, I just want to let you know before anybody else says anything, we just traded you. And I just go, huh?
What?
Like, I'm here rehabbing. What are you talking about? You traded me. And that was kind of like the first taste of business, more so because I saw it in the minor leagues and getting to the big leagues, the shuffling between minor leagues and big leagues and guys on and off the roster, the loopholes. How many options does this guy have? Does he have any? We got to find a way to keep him. Let's get him here, but we got to let him out there so other teams can grab him, but we want to try to keep him. And,
yeah,
that's when I started seeing guys shuffling all over the place. And when I got traded, it was like, okay, well, these guys want me. They've been pretty solid the last, few years, and so I get there. The one guy I knew was Ben Revere, and that's who I got traded for. So it was like, oh, well, I don't have anything to look forward to now at this point, because that's the one guy I knew.
Right.
But so, yeah, we wound up flipping. Trevor May came over with me too, and I remember struggling. I got there, and they had already had everything drawn up, and they just said, welcome to the team, do what you got to do, how do you feel about being the opening day guy, blah, blah, blah. And of course,
Yeah.
what pitcher doesn't want the ball opening day as a starter? I mean, so I'm on board. I figure I'm 100% healthy, and I wind up just struggling. I not locating like I was, and mechanically I thought I was doing everything right. So we wound up making, changes to mechanics, and I just go backwards. I wound up getting sent back to AAA. Hey, you need to go figure something out because you don't belong here. And it's like, I got it. Trust me. I've given up a lot of runs since I've come over here, and this sucks.
Yeah.
And I went to AAA and started having success again, and wound up getting hurt. And that was just kind of the spiral of Minnesota. It was like they had a bad taste in their mouth. I had a bad taste in my mouth. And yeah, they wind up releasing me or taking me off the roster. I clear, go to minor league camp 2014 after they tell me, we have a lot of hopes for you this year, blah, blah, blah. I'm not even on the team. And go to the minor leagues, don't pitch in any games. Finally, they say, hey, you're going to be a reliever if you're ever going to get back to the big leagues. We see you being a setup guy. And it was like, all right, well, I have to change my entire mindset because relievers and starters aren't the same.
Right.
There's preparation completely different. You got days in between, you got every day, the training is different. The sleep is different, it's all different. And I remember just saying, well, all right, what else am I going to say?
Well, a lot of times, whatever's going to get you back to the big leagues, at that
exactly.
point, you're willing to I'll do whatever role you want if it's going to get me back up there.
Right. And, and being with that organization still after they just let me go, basically, it's like, it's tough because you just say, well, you don't even want me here. Like, I have to go out and compete for you and you don't want me here. And I was just like, all right, let's do it. And I wound up throwing one inning that day, and I got a call from the assistant GM. He says, hey, we just traded you, thank you for your time here. And I'm just like, huh? I just cleared waivers and now somebody wants to trade? Well, it's what every team does. Right. I don't have any options left. So why am I going to take a chance on a guy, keep him on the roster, and then he still struggles? Now we have to release him, and we just paid him more money than we needed to. So, yeah, I wound up getting traded over to the Pirates and being just pumped up. But, everybody has different stories about the Pirates, too.
Oh, yeah.
It's a military minor league style organization, more so than Philadelphia. And I remember a lot of the guys were guys that I'd played against in college. There was a lot of West Coast guys in that organization. And I remember getting there, and they're like, welcome to the dark side. Because I was over in Philly for the first few years.
Right.
And it was like, man, well, at least you're happy to have me here. So that brings me back into good spirits. It's like, oh, well, man, it's another guy we got to compete with over here. It becomes a job at that point. And it got me hungry again. It was like, oh, these guys know me. They know what I've done. The organization knows what I've done. We want to make you a starter again. And I wound up staying in extended for maybe a little over a month, just working on mechanics and mentally training myself to get back into competing at a higher level.
Yeah.
Because, at this point, if you're in extended, there's, 30 pitchers there, and they go and they throw in their extended games, and the guys that don't throw, they're all, shagging foul balls and stuff. I mean, it's brutal, and you're just waiting for the next, short season to start or somebody else to get hurt so you can get the hell out of there because you're just, you're rotting in Pirate City.
Oh, yeah.
And, yeah. So I'm just grinding. I'm like, I got to get out of here. And finally, a light switch hits, and they're just like, all right, hey, you're ready. Go to AAA. Go do your thing. And I remember getting there, having success, back to the show.
Nice. Yeah.
So, yeah, that was one of my mental draining moments.
For sure. You had been with a few organizations at that point. Could you tell it like top to bottom right away the differences between all these organizations? Who figured it out? Yeah, and who doesn't?
As soon as you walk in the clubhouse, you know the vibe.
Yeah.
Right away. I mean, even playing against the other teams, like the guys that you do know, you talk, or you see how they're getting, coached on the other side. It's like, God, that would suck.
Right.
These guys are so much cooler over here. The grass isn't always greener on the other side. I mean,
No.
there's guys that are just praying to get released by teams so they get an opportunity somewhere else. It's not always better, I
No.
promise.
No, it's not. And you got to taste the good stuff early with Philly, right? I mean,
I
you had a
did.
great time there, and then you really see, all right, most organizations are not like that.
No, no, not at all. But I mean, that's what's different for every team too. I mean, some guys adapt and that's just who they are and that's all they know. And then the other teams, where they go out and they get those veterans that have had success from other teams and they bring them in so they can feed off of that and, boost the spirit and the moral of the team.
Right.
I mean, I was fortunate to play on some very good teams.
Yeah. And of all the ones you played on, where would you say was your favorite place to play? Was Philly definitely it, or was there someplace better?
I love pitching in PNC.
Oh,
Beautiful backdrop in the
yeah.
park, Pitchers Park. The Citizens Bank, they brought it. I mean, there was 50,000 plus at every game. They were selling out even standing room. Everybody's got signs, banners hanging off the walls. Like they were there and they were there to cheer for you. They didn't need to look up at the scoreboard to get loud. They were loud before that and they just would get louder. I mean, you could hear it. I mean, you would be vibrating on the field when they would get loud. I mean, you get that big punch out or that big hit. Everybody's jumping up and down. I mean, that was a neat experience. And to watch how the organization went after I left, and I mean, they weren't selling at all. And it's tough. I mean, that's a city where they want guys to go out and play hard and win. And they weren't putting out the product at the time.
Right.
But that Citizens Bank was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's been a few years since you were in the big leagues. I guess I know you're thinking about making a comeback. Where would you say at this point? We got COVID happening. You got kids now. Where are you at in your career? Do you think?
I still throw every day. I stay ready. But I mean, it's tough. I mean, there's no leagues right now. I either go overseas or an MLB doesn't seem like they're really taking any, older guys, even if they've had success. So I stay ready, but the kids, it's been tough too. I got one out in Philadelphia and I got the other one out here
right
in California here. And I'm trying to balance going back and forth. And then of course the pandemic hits. There's no job because I can't go play independent ball to show teams that I'm ready. And all I have is FaceTime. So I only FaceTime with my oldest. And then, I'm working on going back there and spending some time with him, soon. I got some other things I got to take care of first, but it's an eye opener. I mean, it's a really neat experience for anybody that doesn't have kids because you just learn to just give everything to them. It's not about you anymore.
Right.
And just, the family that comes in and helps, you see how much it brightens up everybody having another kid around in the family. It's like, oh, and it's funny. I mean, he's got my youngest, he's got a onesie that says current family favorite. And that's exactly how it is, man. And you're the new kid on the block. You're the favorite until the next one.
Right. No,
But it's a cool experience. And anybody that doesn't have a kid yet, it'll make you mature.
Okay. Good to know. We'll see when I have one.
Yeah.
Last big thing I want to finish with. So Vance is a huge car guy. So for all the people that love cars out there, I want to know, which ones are your favorite that you own? Which ones do you not have that you want still? Where are you at with your car situation?
I've downsized the last few years, obviously not playing. But I've had ones that I didn't think I'd like and I wound up loving. I've had the ones that I thought I would love and I wound up hating. But I'm an American muscle guy. If you try to talk to me about any other car, I'm not going to know anything you're saying. It's going to be a foreign language. Grew up a Chevy guy. So it kind of upset my dad when I showed up with a Ford Mustang. When I taught myself how to drive stick shift in AA, because he wouldn't teach me how to drive it. So I'm like, if I'm going to learn, I'm going to do it myself. I'm going to just buy some cheap car out here instead of shipping, because shipping costs an arm and a leg too. So, okay, why not? So I wind up buying a 88 5.0 and teaching myself how to drive stick on it and getting called up to the big leagues driving this car. So now I'm driving this $3,000 bucket and everybody else in the drive and, in the parking lot's got, $100,000 cars. And it's like, this is ridiculous. Like, I don't belong. Let me go park upstairs.
Right.
But I wound up restoring that one. And that's probably been one of my more funner cars to drive. I've had the Corvettes, that thing was a blast. The Cadillacs, the CTSV, didn't really care for it. It was a cool car, but I'm always drawn back to the Camaros. My dad restored a 68 Camaro when I was a kid, and I wound up, I guess, resto modding it. I put the newer style motor in it. I got an LS2 in there with a 4L60E auto trans instead of a 327 2-speed power glide that just doesn't go anywhere.
I have no idea what you just said, but it sounds cool.
Numbers and letters. But it's a fun car, and it's cool, and it means a lot to me because I was able to take something my dad restored and then just kind of put a modern touch to. Currently building a 69 Camaro convertible, same thing, all the new stuff. And then I don't know if you remember my white Camaro from college.
Yeah.
I wound up selling that to a buddy of mine, and then of course the reason for selling it was I can't polish a turd, my dad said. So even after repainting it and doing all these things to it, I got rid of the turd. Well, another turd came into my life, so I bought another one of them, a 91 Camaro, and I'm doing the whole modern touch to that one as well. So that's where I'm at right now. But
okay,
I don't plan on adding anything else. I don't want to, because I know how much of a money pit they are, and having children and a wife, you don't have that choice anymore.
Right.
It's like, oh yeah, I'll go do this. No, I can't. I got to give that to the kids.
You got to get the family car now.
Oh yeah, no, I wound up getting I have an older Escalade. I bought it last year, and it's perfect. Perfect.
Great.
It's like,
yeah.
It's like, it's the older model. Everybody wants the new stuff, and it's like, this was cool when 50 Cent was rapping.
Right. Yeah. Dude, they had some good cars back in the early 2000s, man.
Yeah. Let me get some 20s on this thing.
There you go. Who had the best cars in the big leagues that you saw?
Oh man, there's dudes that spend. I think Ryan Howard always had all the new Bentleys, and JC Romero. I remember he had a Phantom. He had the G-Wagon. I mean, just a lot of guys, they'll go out and they'll just get the 500, 700 series, BMWs, because it's a nice car to drive. And then there's the other guys that'll go out and they'll just spend. I mean, Cespedes, I think, has got some pretty crazy rides.
Oh, yeah.
Verlander's got a bunch of them, and he's got expensive taste. Tower.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I remember Roy Halladay had some cool stuff too. And
Oh yeah. Did you get to play with him?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was he? I mean, one of the best pitchers of all time. A little underrated too. What do you remember about Halladay, real quick?
He got in the Hall of Fame. It was funny. One of the last things I remember hearing from him, being his teammate, was he didn't want to go into the Hall of Fame because he didn't want his face on a plaque. Because I don't want to be remembered for that. I want to be remembered for playing. And it was like, this dude's a workhorse. I mean, there's no reason why he's not going to get in there. And he pitched until he couldn't.
Dude, watching him pitch, he was amazing, man. Just the way he went about his bullpens, everything. Just from watching videos, I was like, damn, this guy figured it out, dude.
His bullpens were ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, the footwork, it was in the same spot every time. I mean, just going up and over his head, stepping like 3 feet backwards before he came back forward into his leg kick into a ball. It was the same footmarks, landing spots. Who does this? How do you do that? I can't do that.
Yeah.
I'm lucky if I can get it even close to stepping in the same spot twice.
Right.
But I mean, the guy in the weight room running, doing his homework, talking to the catchers, just picking his mind. I mean, the guy saw things I couldn't see. I mean, that's something in sports too, is you can always keep learning. You're never smart enough to not study something. Raw talent only goes so far. And he just I don't know. It was almost like he had the cheat code to a video game, and it was like,
Yeah.
this guy's gonna put it wherever he wants. He's gonna bounce it. He's gonna go up and in, scare the guy, and he's gonna backdoor something, and he's just gonna be standing there like, what just happened? And that's how it was every time he pitched. I mean, he's a bulldog.
Dang. Yeah. Well, it's cool you got to play with him. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
I know we could do this all day, but I will definitely let you get back to your regular day. But I really appreciate it. Thanks for coming on, giving all the insight, and hope we can do it again soon, man.
I appreciate it, Sasquatch. Anytime.
I like the building better, dude. Oh, sassy. That's funny. Oh, man. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, buddy. Thanks for having me.
No problem.
Later.
All right, that's the show today. What a great episode with Vance. That was awesome. I mean, just diving into all the stuff that we did, Philadelphia, talking about even at the end, Roy Halladay, how underrated he was and underappreciated, and all the craziness of the business of baseball and what it's like to be a young guy coming up and, man, to be the guy. So great episode. My thanks to Vance. He's awesome. Hope you enjoyed that one. As always, you can subscribe, rate, and review. That would be great for the show. It'd help us out a lot at Too Tall Sports Podcast everywhere, especially on Apple Podcasts. If you're an Apple person, please scroll down, hit the 5-star rating, and subscribe as well. Leave a review if you really liked it. I know you did, because it's good stuff. Just kidding. But I always appreciate the support. Thank you very much, and look forward to future episodes. And we'll talk to you soon. Too Tall Sports Podcast. Let's get it.